Hi, everybody, and thank you for joining us for today's Aviva Edge 2020, covering some use cases and solutions. My name is Scott Courtier. I'm the product manager for Aviva Edge. And today, I thought we'd turn things around a little bit and show some use cases, pain points, and how to solve those with Aviva Edge. A little bit different than just dumping features on you today. But as we get started, I'm going to give you a quick overview of the product, but don't worry, we'll get quickly into those use cases and solutions, and then some key takeaways as we wrap this up. Again, a quick overview of Aviva Edge. What really is this product? For those of you who don't know, Aviva Edge is very powerful, affordable HMI and SCADA software, yet still very flexible, very easy to use, and it can be used in all sorts of different solutions, whether it's PCs, industrial panel PCs, servers, embedded mobile devices, IoT devices. And one of the big features of the product is the ability to develop your project once and deploy and run it anywhere. We can run on different operating systems and deploy that in different ways. And I'm going to show you that in a little bit as we get going through here. Some of the main benefits, if you take a look down here, the left side, we have portability, mobility, and interoperability. And these mean different things to different people, but I'm going to explain a lot of this during this presentation. But I'm going to come at it, instead of just dumping on you some features, I'm going to show you why this is a benefit and how this can benefit you. And again, the mobility part of this, being able to view and interact with the screens on remote devices, whether it's tablets or phones, or as well as desktops, either at your location or geographically distributed, independent of where you're at. The interoperability part of this is being able to communicate to many different devices, many different included drivers and protocols. But in addition to the drivers that we have built in, such as not only PLCs, but such as robots, temperature controllers, motion, vision, etc., the ability to communicate and interact with databases, cloud-based infrastructure via MQTT or even OPC, so many different ways to communicate. Now, the portability part of this, and when we take a look at this, there's a development environment or an integrated development environment, often called an IDE. And that's what we call Aviva Edge Studio. Now, Studio, again, is the development part of this. And you can deploy this to really 4 different runtimes. One that we call Aviva Edge SCADA. Now, that's on Windows desktop or server operating systems. Aviva Edge Embedded HMI for Windows IoT, enterprise, either LTSB or LTSC, and then we can also deploy it on what's formerly known as Windows CE or the runtime license that we call Compact HMI, and then even running on Linux, what we call IoT View. And that flexibility really gives you the capability to pick and choose and scale. For example, if you happen to be a machine builder or system integrator, you can offer your customers kind of a standard level product, a high-end product, and maybe a low-end product based on cost, based on size or resolution of the panel PC that you want to use. And the other benefit is the ability to develop once and deploy anywhere. So that really gives you the ability to develop this project once, and with little or no changes, often no changes, be able to deploy on different hardware, on different operating systems, different resolution and different size screens. So that's a huge benefit because really, when you think about it, your personal product is your time, and that we know is very valuable these days. So this paints a bigger picture. If you take a look here, where does Aviva Edge fit into the bigger picture? Down here at the asset location, now we've shown kind of a manufacturing environment here, but it does not have to be a manufacturing environment. It can be process, it could be infrastructure, it could be utilities, water, wastewater, wind turbines, wind farm, solar, et cetera, and being able to then get that information from the edge type devices, the edge of your network where the things are happening, so to speak, and then get that up into other Aviva products, whether it's InTouch, system platform, or into our cloud-based products, for example, AVEVA Insight, and being able to do some analytics and understand what's going on in your process and being able to improve, feed that back, get actionable insights, improve that stuff that you're doing every day. So the first use case, first here of 7 that I have to show you today, many different PLCs and devices. So something that we often hear is we have many different PLC brands and different devices with different protocols. I just wish we had one HMI platform that could connect to everything. And this is something that we hear, especially going up against our competition, where the number of drivers that they have is often either small or non-existent, and you have to add external technologies or external modules, things like OPC, or add on things to get to additional protocols. One of the nice things about AVEVA Edge is that we have over 100 protocols built in for different PLCs. And again, not only PLCs, but things like robots, temperatures, motion control, vision. And in addition to the drivers that we have built in, included, we can also be an OPC, UA, or DA server, or a client. So if we're a server, we can get to, if we're a client, we can get to third-party servers and connect to other devices. Maybe we don't have a driver for a particular device, or maybe a particular feature that you need in a driver is there, or manufacturer supplied it. So we can get to that again with either OPC, DA, or UA. If we are an OPC server, then third-party clients can come access our tag information. So if you look at the center of this diagram, it's really AVEVA Edge tags here, and not only via drivers and OPC, but interaction with web services and databases, and we can even have toolkits so that you have the need or necessity, you can develop your own toolkit or your own interaction with our tags, and or develop your own drivers as well. But supporting REST APIs, supporting different drivers, OPC built in, and again, OPC is not necessary. We have over 100 drivers built in. You can probably get to the PLC or the device or the thing that you need to communicate with. So making that kind of easy as you go. So let me hop over to the development environment here real quick and show you. Here's a project that I had just started up. And what I'm going to do is right click and add remove drivers. And here you can see the different list of drivers that we have. You can add those to the to your project. So let me just add, for example, Modbus TCP, pretty widely used. Could be Ethernet IP, et cetera, et cetera. Let me add that to the project. Now, another big advantage of this product is that the drivers are mostly independent of the version. What do I mean by that? That you can use older versions of drivers with newer versions of product and vice versa. Why is that a benefit? You may have qualified or validated a particular driver and want to keep using that even though you change the version of the product. That might be something advantageous of you, or different variations of that. So that is a unique thing that we have independent drivers. So adding the drivers in here, you also get the ability to have read and write statuses so that you can understand if your information is being read properly. You can also choose, for example, if you've got bad quality, if something happens to the PLC, you can show question marks in the place if you don't want to show invalid data, for example. And then you also have the ability to enable or disable the driver worksheets. And why that's an advantage is because you can add, we have no license limit on the number of drivers that you can put in your project, and you can turn them on or off as necessary. And this helps facilitate the idea of having one project that serves many different applications. So you can have maybe an Allen Bradley PLC or Modicom PLC, a Schneider, et cetera. And depending on the project, enable or disable the driver sheets as needed for the particular project, so you don't have to redevelop that interface as that goes. So again, not only the flexibility for the status, but also the ability to have different PLCs at different IP addresses, different locations, and the flexibility to change between those as you go. So let's go back here to the presentation. The next use case is we have too many HMI products in general. So some of the things we've heard is over the years, for example, we've added machines and skids with different types of HMIs. We've never really paid attention to the brands of HMIs that have come in, but this makes it difficult to maintain and train on the different technologies, not only for the operators, but for the maintenance staff. And in general, we need a way to reduce the time to converge into a single HMI platform. So we hear this often, especially from integrators and people who may have had just the need to combine their different HMIs. Maybe they've had way too many, and now it makes sense to bring that into a single HMI platform. But the time to do it is maybe prohibitive. So what we've done, we have 3 different import tools. So starting here at the bottom, we have an import tool for Eaton PanelMate. We have one for Rockwell's PanelBuilder 32, and then also for Rockwell FactoryTalk, either ME or SE for FactoryTalk View, again for Machine Edition or the SE Edition. And what that allows you to do is import a project developed by these other products and get that into Aviva Edge. Let me move my little window out of here. And it drastically reduces the time and the engineering costs for that. But then what you end up with is, at your choice, your discretion, you can have the project look like these different products, or you can enhance that and take advantage of the tools, the animations, the visibility of the different objects within Aviva Edge, and then take that above and beyond. So for example, if you brought in a FactoryTalk View application, it would look and feel like that, but then over time you can enhance that and not put too much stress on the operations staff or the maintenance staff, but then improve and take advantage of the features within Aviva Edge. During the import, what ends up happening is you end up with a project that is truly an Aviva Edge project, and you have native objects from Aviva Edge and the ability to use those and enhance those way above and beyond the functionality of those other products. The next use case is something that we hear a lot of, is we need to understand what's going on, the performance and the key performance indicators. And there's many different variations of this theme or idea. And it really comes down to, we realize we don't completely understand our performance and the downtime causes, the key performance indicators, however you may call this, whether it's OEE for overall equipment effectiveness or just data logging or trending in general. What I've seen over the years is going into facilities and a supervisor might ask one of the maintenance staff, hey, what is the worst problem, or what's the most downtime causing thing that we have on this machine? And he'll think about it for a second and he'll say, well, last week we had blah, blah, blah thing. And it turns out humans are just notoriously bad at remembering all those details. So by being able to log, trend to databases, local files, cloud-based, and being able to get that information and analyze that really completely gives you the ability to measure it and make data-driven decisions. Now, within Aviva Edge, we've got a lot of different solutions here, and I apologize for a lot of the different text here. I'm going to simplify this and just do a couple of different things. We have the ability to log not only to a local file in the hard drive, but also to databases, SQL relational databases, and it can be any SQL relational database. It could be a Microsoft SQL Server or Oracle, MySQL, Postgres, the list goes on and Also, we have the ability to use the Aviva Historian either on premises or what's called the AVEVA Insight in the cloud and push data to that. And that is something very easy to do. Let me flip back over to the development environment here. And as you put tags and things that you're monitoring in the project, one of the really easy things to do is flip over to tasks and set up a trend worksheet or a trend logger worksheet. And if I just right click on that and insert, and I put my list of tags here, by the way, this list will grow to thousands of line items long if you're not limited to these 4 or 5. You can put a tag in here. It does not have to be time-based. It could be, in this case, it's the seconds clock of the computer, but it could be end of cycle of the machine, end of process, end of batch. You get to trigger that as necessary. Or you can save whenever there's a tag change. Now this lets you very easily, if there's any problems, any tags that change, being able to get that logged, that entire list logged to a database. Now moving on, that will by default log to a proprietary database on the proprietary text file on the hard drive, on the local hard drive. And by the way, you do have the ability to set up what's called history, lifetime, and days. So if you only want to keep 30, 60, 90 days around that, just to ensure that you won't fill up your hard drive, you can do that as well. Now, moving on beyond the text file on the hard drive, you can move to a SQL database and be able to get that into any SQL relational database. Very, very easy. And we've got lots of demos online if you need a demo of how to do that and how easy that is. I usually challenge customers to time me, and I can do it typically under 5 minutes, but for sure under 10. But what's really nice is we don't require an external SQL database. You can, again, use that local text file on the hard drive. The third type of data here is going to the historian. Now, if that's the Aviva Historian on premises, we have a way to configure that. We also have a way to get to Aviva Insight in the cloud, and really being able to do that very, very easily. So there's your really 3, almost 4 different types of data collection and different ways to do that. Now, all of these basically say what I just mentioned, third-party support, but not only data logging, but for alarms and events as well, and really be able to trace and track what's going on in your production environment, your application. And again, being able to take that data from the edge type devices, whether that's valves, pumps, motor controls, whole machines, whatever you consider the edge, so to speak, being able to get that data, not only just kind of a pass through, but also more of a data acquisition, data manipulation, and aggregate that data, filter, contextualize that information before you send it to where you need to analyze that, whether it's a cloud-based analytics or on-premises historian. And often when I show this slide, what I like to do is draw a giant circular arrow here, because really you need to take that information that you've gained from that analytics and feed it back into your system and help improve it. And that's kind of what it's all about, not just analyzing the data for the sake of analyzing the data. Now, I mentioned when I showed the historian selection in the database configuration, and we have a tool called Aviva Insight. I really invite you to check that out, because with very little or even no configuration, that tool can automatically analyze the data, the tags that you sent to it, and it will compare tags against all other tags and learn what's going on and evaluate and show you when there's any things that are outside of normal ranges, and you don't even have to configure that. Really slick kind of tool. So again, that's Aviva Insight, and we can push data to that as well. So the next use case that we want to talk about is I'm tired of extra modules. We've had several projects where we just didn't know, and I'm taking on the voice of the customer here, if that wasn't obvious. We've had several projects that we just didn't know that we needed extra modules. We missed it. We didn't order the right things for things like alarming or recipes or drivers or database connectivity or reporting. We've had to go back to management for more funding, more money. And then we had to go to purchasing to place another order and then wait for things to be delivered or licenses to get upgraded. So really what's nice about the AVEVA Edge tool set is it's comprehensive, meaning it's everything included that you need to create an HMI or SCADA project, again, for everything that you need. So I've shown here kind of the development ribbon interface and some of the tools that we have, just as more of a reminder or a checklist for me, because you get all of the drawing tools, you get all the animations, the ability to tie in external objects, the ability to do remote management, remote troubleshooting, to manage your tags database, all your graphics, all your background things that happen like alarming, trending, recipes, reports, scripting. There's 2 or 3 different scripting languages in the product. The ability to interface with your drivers, multiple different drivers simultaneously, as well as OPC. I didn't mention this earlier, but in addition to the other drivers that we have, I think I did maybe mention MQTT as well. But the ability to create your own graphics, industrial graphics, everything that you need to manage, facilitate, create, and deploy a project is all included. Now, the next thing that I like to show here is the different vertical markets that we're involved in. And we're really in every different market, as you can imagine. I typically point out this rightmost slice here because it really points to that we are in every different type of industry that you can imagine. And why do I point that out? Well, this is how we got to the place where we are with so many different features in the product. For example, pharmaceutical customers asked us to support a US FDA standard called 21 CFR Part 11. Basically, that's the traceability, trackability, and security to maintain and watch over a project. For example, who changed what ingredient from what to what, and when did they change that, who was logged in. So as we got those requests from different pharmaceutical type customers, we realized that would benefit other industries. So we looked to see how could we add that feature into the product and then make it available to other types of applications, other types of industries. And so that's how we've really added the features over time and added that capability and the functionality to really have all the tools that you need to create an HMI and or SCADA type project. The next use case that we hear a lot about is we're never in the right place at the right time. So for various reasons, we have less operations staff, maintenance staff, and they never seem to be in the right place at the right time, or they're geographically dispersed. So one of the things that I hear is, for example, 15, 20 years ago, it wasn't uncommon that if you had 10 different machines, you had 10 different operators, one-for-one relationship. And now either it's for the times we're experiencing in 2020 or for whatever reason, maybe people are just wanting to be more efficient. They have less operators, less maintenance staff, and they're never in the right place at the right time, or they're physically out in a field, or maybe you have a water or a wastewater application and you're really in different places at different times. So what are the different features within AVEVA Edge that can help you understand and deal with that? So we have several different thin clients with the product. We have a mobile access thin client, and that's HTML5 interface. You just open up a browser, point it back to the real running application, and view and interact with those screens, of course, with security in mind as well. We also have a different type called Secure Viewer Thin Client, and that one also gives you the ability to view and interact with different devices remotely. So here's some of the benefits: secure, portable, flexible, customizable, scalable. I'm going to talk a little bit more about those, but you can use these on different devices. Now, Secure Viewer Thin Client needs to run on a Windows based device, but the mobile access thing client does not. It's an HTML5 browser based. You don't have to have any plugins. You basically open up a browser, whether it's a Windows device, an Android, an Apple device, could be a desktop, could be a mobile tablet, phone, etc. Point that back to your real running application. And again, view and interact with that. So if your maintenance staff, let's say, happens to be at another machine and something happens across the way, well, they can determine, hey, is that higher priority? Do I need to leave what I'm doing now and go take care of that? And in the case of, let's say, for example, utilities or an infrastructure type thing, maybe the person is at home or it's the weekend and they need to be able to get that information to determine, hey, do I need to really go in and take care of this, or can I bypass that valve until I can get in tomorrow morning or on Monday, kind of thing. So lots of different capabilities and flexibilities with that. So if I open up, let's say, the development environment here, and let me load up what's called our PC demo. Now, this is the demo that's included with the product. And here you can see that we have really all of the features and capabilities, whether it's recipes, reports, trends, all built into this product. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to launch the mobile access client here. I'm just going to click on that. It's going to open up my mobile access client. And again, this could be on really any type of device. I'm gonna revise this to be more like let's say a mobile phone might be, and just show you that you can get at different screens and interact with those remotely. So also, just if you want to see this demo live, I encourage you to take your phone, your tablet, your desktop computer, and just do a Google search for Aviva Edge, hit the Aviva Edge page, and there's a live demo button that you can click on there and get this demo across the web and show you how easy it is to interact and just spin up and get to that remotely. So that's kind of a nice demo there. The next thing is a use case for we need more visibility and just general understanding of what's going on in our facility. So production and operations staff need at a glance visibility to current status. Maybe they're not near their office, not near a computer. They're out tending to the needs of the facility, whether that's a manufacturing facility, some big process happening. And another thing that's also advantageous is by making production status available to everyone, we want to encourage everyone to be just keep production moving. It's an incentive that it's kind of like a scoreboard. You see that, and you just want that to be available. So what we're talking about here is something like Andon. If you're not familiar with Andon or production monitoring, it's called different things. Could be digital signage, could be factory information systems, could be big screen TVs or big boards up in the rafters or hanging on the wall. It allows you to quickly visualize the status and understand what's going on. And I always like to say that machines are like printing presses for money. If you realize this, that you know, you're making a profit on every product that's coming out of the machine, or if you're running a process, continuous process, you know, whatever you're making or manufacturing, there's a profit associated with that. And if it's not running, it's not making money. And if it's stopped, you need to get that running quickly. You need to be able to understand what's going on from a distance, and I'll talk about that more in just a couple of slides here. And you can also encourage safety and keep employees informed. Maybe there's employees that don't have their own email accounts. How do they get information? You don't want to hand out pamphlets and things like that. So how do you keep information like this in front of employees? So one way would be to have the thin clients. Now, this could be either the secure viewer thin clients that I mentioned before, or mobile access thin clients, and have big screen TVs or big screen monitors hanging up with either local computers, or these could be browser based as well. I know some of the big screen TVs that I've tested have built-in browsers that happen to work. You would need an external computer for those. And some of the benefits of this is being able to have hundreds of these. Notice here I have this little dashed line. You could have production information, OEE for overall equipment effectiveness, just general what's going on. You could have one of these in the cafeteria, let's say, or break room, and provide information about what's going on, the weather, the stock price, just information, so that, again, keeping employees informed. This could also be a facilities type thing where you're monitoring energy usage or building automation type things. And you can have this rotating between different screens. And what's nice is these are easy to replace if necessary. Basically, you put in a new device and configure it where it needs to go to, and it's pretty much up and running at that point. Now, taking this idea and continuing on with it, expanding upon that a little bit, is this type of application where you have a video wall and you have maybe a multiple set of big screen TVs. In this case, I've got 4 TVs in a 2x2 matrix, and these could be 4K screens. These could be 1080p type screens, and it doesn't have to be in a 2x2 matrix. You can get Aviva Edge will support up to 10,000 by 10,000 pixels, so you can, visualize this from very far away. We've done studies with some college students where we've actually determined how large do the characters have to be so that they can see them from 50 meters, 100 meters, 150 meters away, and how large do the characters have to be when they're at those different distances, and they can see the individual characters from those distances. So, and again, giving you the ease of being able to create screens that span multiple monitors very, very easily, again, from one runtime. And as I mentioned back here on the previous slide, that you can have hundreds of these clients really off of one individual server. So it's not a video cable. This is a network, and each of these could be different screens. They could be the same screen, could be dependent on where that is located, whether it's in a cell, manufacturing cell, a zone, a region, a cafeteria, etc. So lots of different capabilities when it comes to that. Now, another use case that we have here is the idea of reducing downtime and mean time to repair. So, this is the really critical thing when it comes to HMIs and your SCADA system. It used to be a long time ago that an HMI was just a way to replace push buttons and pilot lights and meters. Now it's so much more. We hear from our customers things like we need a new and different ways to reduce downtime and get things running again quickly. So there are lots of tools in Aviva Edge to be able to do that. In addition to the standard troubleshooting tools that we have, being able to view communication statuses, troubleshoot communication statuses, you can also provide operators and maintenance staff things like opening up PDFs and showing a step-by-step, how do you fix this trouble, this thing that we've run into before, or how do I learn from those things? You could be web pages, could be playing videos, email, text messages to get to people, audio alerts. I've seen some machines in some factories play musical tones over and over again until the maintenance staff comes and fix the problems, kind of an annoyance kind of thing. And this is an application to kind of give you an example of how you might show videos or web pages or PDF type help. So if I go back to, let's stop this PC demo here and go back to my my development environment, and switch this project over to an example that I have called Alarm Machine Circle. And if I run this, what you'll see here is I can simulate some alarms. So let's go into the alarm field here, and I'm just going to push these little buttons and simulate some alarms. So here I have a toggle error, a die error, a hopper error, and a base error. And I just made something simple just to make it understandable. But what I'm actually doing behind the scenes, and you don't have to display these, but I'm displaying an X. You don't have to display these, but what I've assigned for each alarm is an X and a Y position, and I'll show you what that's important for here in a minute. And then I've also assigned an alarm file name. This could be a PDF, an HTML file, a movie in this case. So what I'm going to do here is go to the hopper. And when I select that, behind the scenes, I get this information here. In this case, it's the hopper PDF. And when I go to the machine screen, it's going to show me, it's going to move that circle to that X and Y coordinate and show me where it thinks that alarm issue is. And if that's still not enough, it's past that hopper.pdf file name. You can see there with the tooltips, it highlights that. And I can open that up, and then I can get my steps. For example, what do I have to do to fix this? Check, is the hopper blocked? Maybe there's a sight glass that you can see into it, to check the moisture level, the air pressure, et cetera, to be able to troubleshoot that. Now, if I go back, and maybe I take a look at this one. Maybe it's a toggle error. Now, in this case, the circle has moved, and I can click on that if I need more information. And it's actually going to display, now this is bottling. It's not really a plastic injection molding, but there's a video that I happen to have handy. And so I just wanted you to see that many different things that you can get at to help you troubleshoot, trial, understand what's going on in the machine. So. Those are the different kind of use cases that I wanted to show you, some big picture things of how you might have some pain points in your organization and how Aviva Edge can solve those. So understand, and some key takeaways, that this product is very full featured. It has really everything that you need, from alarms, graphics, recipes, reports, all the drivers built in, all the different tools that you need to create a project that helps keep your process or your machines running. It's flexible and open. So not only do we have the tools that you need, but we can tie into other third-party tools. We recognize that you have the need to be able to do that, whether it's OPC, ActiveX and .NET, web services, the list goes on. And it's sustainable and affordable. We continue to evolve this product and make sure that no matter where your budget comes from, whether it's CapEx or OpEx, you can facilitate a project and get that going for you and those types of needs. So with that, I would like to thank you for your time, your watching of this, and hopefully you learned something. Please contact your local Aviva distributor and get what you need from them. Thanks, and have a great day.